With this, I come to a conclusion and pronounce my judgment. I condemn Christianity. I bring against the Christian Church the most terrible of all the accusations that an accuser has ever had in his mouth. We have seen how Nietzsche attacks Christianity on multiple fronts. Previous parts tackled his critique of pity and compassion, decadent emotions of weakness that found their sanction in Christianity. We have discussed Nietzsche's attack on the so-called theological instinct, the drive to reason away empirical reality and the material world in favor of some kind of Hinterwelt or beyond, whether that be Schopenhauer's will, Kant's thing in itself, or Christianity's heaven or kingdom of God. And finally, we saw how, according to Nietzsche, even the message of Jesus Christ himself was distorted by his pupils after he was crucified. But what is Nietzsche's end goal in writing this scathing critique of the Christian faith? Nietzsche wanted a transvaluation of all values, a new system of ethics, of philosophy, a new system of life, completely opposed to the decadent values that he saw were dominating the culture, decadent values that found their source and justification in Christianity. Unfortunately, Nietzsche's mental health did not allow him to finish the other three parts in his planned tetralogy on the transvaluation of values. We must look to the future ourselves. But is there a period in history that might serve as an inspiration? Has such a transvaluation of values occurred before? Yes, it has. We call it the Renaissance. Is it understood at last? Will it ever be understood what the Renaissance was? The transvaluation of Christian values, an attempt with all available means, all instincts and all the resources of genius to bring about a triumph of the opposite values, the more noble values. This has been the one great war of the past. There has never been a more critical question than that of the Renaissance. Nietzsche finds in the Renaissance the revival of pre-Christian Greco-Roman culture, an age of nobler values, above all, a celebration of life. In the Renaissance, Nietzsche finds an art so divine, so infernally divine, that one might search in vain for thousands of years for another such possibility. Even the papacy underwent this drastic transvaluation of values during the Renaissance. The corrupt Renaissance popes, who used the riches of the Vatican to live lavish lifestyles full of bacchanalia and banquets, which are generally considered a low point in church history, find in Nietzsche's estimation a celebration of life where previously Christianity had promoted death. I see a spectacle so rich in significance and at the same time so wonderfully full of paradox that it should arouse all the gods on Olympus to immortal laughter. Cesare Borgia as Pope. Christianity itself no longer occupied the papal chair. Instead, there was life. Instead, there was the triumph of life. Instead, there was the great yes to all lofty, beautiful, and daring things. But sadly for Nietzsche, the Renaissance did not manage to complete this transvaluation of values. Christianity survived. What happened? A German monk, Luther, came to Rome. This monk, with all the vengeful instincts of an unsuccessful priest in him, raised a rebellion against the Renaissance in Rome. Martin Luther, the Protestant reformer, launched an attack on what he viewed as corruption and excesses of the Catholic Church. But of course, for Nietzsche, these excesses and this corruption were a good thing. In Nietzsche's historical analysis, Luther was responsible for the failure of the spirit of the Renaissance to remove Christianity from Europe. Luther's Protestant Reformation was a restoration of the old Christian order, and Luther restored the Church. He attacked it. The Renaissance, an event without meaning, a great futility. Luther's actions ultimately rendered the Renaissance futile, meaningless. A revolution was preparing itself in Europe, but it was stopped short by the advent of Protestantism. Still, the message is clear. Nietzsche invites us to look at the Renaissance for inspiration of what he envisions as his project for the future, the transvaluation of values. In the Renaissance, Nietzsche saw a renewed lust for life, an appreciation of beauty, an affirmation of existence, displays of strength and of a healthy culture. In short, in the Renaissance, he saw everything that Christianity is not. The transvaluation of values was supposed to be Nietzsche's magnum opus, a great work to surpass all others, putting together everything Nietzsche had written down into one neat system. But he could not finish it. He only gave us the first step, the beginning of a philosophy of the future, as the subtitle of Beyond Good and Evil goes. But Nietzsche also gave us the harbinger, prophet and personification of this philosophical revolution. We are speaking, of course, of Zarathustra. Thank you for watching. This concludes our series on Nietzsche's The Antichrist. We hope you found this series valuable. If so, please leave a like and comment and subscribe to the channel for more videos on Nietzsche. If you want more Nietzsche in the meantime, we have done an in-depth series on both Twilight of the Idols and the Genealogy of Morals. Again, thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next one.